Hi and welcome to Life of Tries Beginner's Guide to Triathlon. In this episode we're going to specifically look at the run element of a triathlon, which normally comes as the third discipline. You would have swum, you would have cycled, and then you would have gone into your final run leg. So your starting point is something that you really need to be mindful as a beginner. So before you sign up for anything, have a think about what sort of history you have with running. Have you done anything competitively previously? Over what sort of distance? A lot of people may have come from something like a team sport and did very little athletics when they were younger, or maybe they did a little bit in school but haven't done anything for a while. All of this is important to understand where you are, because if you are looking to do something like a 5k run but ultimately don't do a lot of running, or you come from a totally different sport, it's going to have some impact on how you prepare and how you plan your training. So what's important is that you give yourself enough time and enough knowledge and inquire that knowledge as well, enough time to do all of that. In the other episodes of the series, specifically around swimming and cycling, we talked about equipment. The equipment for running is a little bit more straightforward and probably will come down to personal preference. Ultimately, what you need is a pair of trainers, a pair of socks. Some will have socks, some won't wear socks. Shorts, t-shirt. Or you may decide to have a tri-suit and wear that from the beginning of the swim through the cycling into your running. So the type of race that you do will probably be one of two things, and that's off-road or on-road. If it's off-road, chances are you'll need some off-road training, some sort of cross trainers. And if it's a road race, chances are then it'll be a more lightweight shoe. What's important is that you replicate the conditions that you are running in your training as well. What's important is that you replicate your race conditions within your training. So if you've signed up for an off-road or a cross-country type of triathlon, make sure most of your training is cross-country off-road. But if you've signed up for a road race, majority of your racing or your training, will be on-road. We get a lot of queries on the channel about training within the gym or specifically on a treadmill, and that's perfectly fine as well. Running is a little bit different to the swim element in the sense of you should really replicate what you're doing within the race scenario there. So if it's an open water swim, make sure you have some exposure to open water swimming. But if you can only train on a treadmill and that's personal to you, well then so be it. Training on a treadmill is quite a sterile environment. You won't be exposed to wind, weather conditions, little ups, little downs, and these are all things that when running outdoors you just need to get used to, and you need to train in those conditions as well. Again, I've said this in the other episodes of the series, if you are looking for a training plan, that one option is to go to a coach and to get them to support you through your training. You could go to a running specific coach, or you could try out a triathlon specific coach. Each will have their benefits. I think it all depends on what your background is and how much exposure and how much knowledge you already have. You could just get an off the shelf training plan, and they have a place, and it all comes down to budget ultimately. Again, I'm repeating myself from the previous episodes, but join a club. That could be a running club, or it could be a tri-specific club. There will be people there that will be willing to give you their knowledge and give you their expertise. And it's up to you then how you take that and whether you take it on board as well. Ultimately, you need to work out what works for you and follow your own path. But there's nothing wrong with getting some advice and just asking questions of people who have been running for a number of years. As I said previously, the run is the last thing that you'll do in a triathlon, by which point you're probably quite tired and you're probably in need of some fuel. This will depend on the race length, but ultimately anything over 90 minutes and you should be taking in some fuel. Generally, this will again be a personal preference, but your options are anything from gels to energy bars to bananas to anything you can actually eat and stomach while running. Again, personal preference. What I would say is ensure that you test it out in training before you take it into the race scenario. Hope you found these tips useful. We have other videos on YouTube, so please check them out. Subscribe, like them, it all helps us get further up in the rankings. And also check us out on social media. If you have a specific topic you want us to cover, please let us know and we'll go from there. Cheers all.